What's up, demons? Glad you could make it. Today I'm jumping on the Hazbin Hotel Season 2 bandwagon, counting down the top 10 things that we can't wait to see in the upcoming season. Obviously, this list does not speak to everyone's feelings on the show, but I say we because I think there are many excited about the same things I'm about to discuss, so let's get into it. Just like every video of mine discussing Season 2, I will not be mentioning any leaks or spoilers from the leaks, and comments that do so will be deleted. We respect the crew here. And while the fandom waits for the second season to release, we're at the final stretch now, guys, I'm sure of it. What better way to spend our time than going over the best potential parts of it? Based on what Vivian Madrano has said in the past, we already have key details to overanalyze. Season 1 spoilers ahead, clearly. 10. Lute's grief. Lute is an interesting character to explore. Unlike the V's who had a lot of screen time in Season 1, her primary appearances involve either standing behind Adam or yelling a lot about nothing.
The only reason you're still here is because Daddy gave you and your hellborn kind a pardon from an exorcist blade. How does that feel? To know how little you matter.
Like, seriously, shut the fuck up. She obviously cared for Adam and has strong black and white moral views. But other than that, who is she? It's unclear what positive traits she saw in the guy, other than the inability to construct a sentence without multiple swear words, but safe to assume she's going to be grieving for him this season. She will not react well to Sir Pentious' redemption, and might take her anger out on him. He did try to kill Adam after all, man to giant machine. And of course, exploring Lute's character and position is going to expand upon the lore of Heaven, which is always exciting. 9. Angel and Husk. Can you really make a full-length Hazbin Hotel video without mentioning loser number 1 and loser number 2? The only reason they're so low on this list is because not much has been said about them regarding Season 2, and one gets the impression that they won't be the focus. Even so, they are fantastic characters. They're still in the besties who are just starting to fall for each other and probably don't even realize it yet stage of their relationship, but they're already plenty of fans' favorite couple. And even though it's not confirmed, I am running with the assumption that they will become a couple because look at them. I'm usually not one for non-canon ships because I don't think much about romance and stories, and even I can tell there's chemistry. But if you just like them as friends, they obviously still have one of the best dynamics in the entire show. On top of their emotional journeys together, they have what many accept as the best song. You can take my money, just give me more of Husk singing, with or without Angel. Obviously they have a fantastic duet, but you hired Keith David and you've barely used his singing voice? I don't even care about the context at this point. I just want Husk to sing. I also can't wait to see their romance take on new meaning as their connection develops. As they start to understand how much they really mean to each other and think, oh fuck. 8. Baxter. You're probably familiar with the little sneak peek that shows Baxter, the mad scientist anglerfish, being introduced. One thing that's promising is that Baxter was intended to be part of the main cast from the beginning, but this was eventually changed so that Pentious filled the Season 1 role that Baxter would have. Angel, Husk, and Pentious just go together so naturally as a trio, or quartet if you throw Niffty in the mix, so I can imagine how Baxter's personality will blend with the rest. He seems, on average, more nefarious than Pentious, while still not serious enough to be a threat. All things considered, I doubt the show will spend too much time warming you up to him. He'll just jump right in and maybe date Niffty. Speaking of, 7. Niffty's song. Our favorite one-eyed maid is confirmed to get her own song in Season 2. According to Kimiko Glenn, it's fast-paced to the point that it was difficult to sing, so one can only imagine how much must be packed into it. I get the feeling, based on that pacing, that most of the song's actual content will just be an expanded version of Niffty's interests, aka cleaning, stabbing bugs, and bad boys. But there is obviously more to her than that. I'm not that familiar with Andrew Underberg and Sam Haft, however, based on their past work for the Helliverse in songs like Clown Bitch, we can see that even the more diverting musical numbers where the main appeal is the rhythm can have lyrics that tell you a lot more about the characters and themes. We can hope the same is true of Niffty, right? Even if Season 2 doesn't dive into Niffty's backstory, an indication at what she's thinking and feeling under the surface would be hella intriguing. Pun intended. Besides, this season will focus a lot on Alastor, and considering their unique connection, focusing on Al without a deeper look at Niffty would make me very sad. 6. The V's. The V's have been confirmed as the main antagonists this season, and while they are not lacking in personality, I'm curious how they'll change as they become more of a threat. Thus far, aside from their abuse of the souls they control, like Valentino with Angel, they're not all that intimidating. They make great villains purely for their fun personalities and their reveling in wrongdoing. For how much people like to compare any animated shows to Disney, I don't see enough people talking about how this trio is peak Disney villain, especially when Val and Vox sing at the end. They were always evil, but now they're going to be dangerous too. a threat to someone as powerful as the radio demon. They must be about to unveil some serious punches. I'll theorize on how this might play out in another video, but safe to say we'll get some great comedy moments and meme potential from putting the vibrant V's in the spotlight. 5. Sir Pentious' backstory. Another focus of Season 2 will be Sir Pentious, and presumably his life on Earth. What made him a sinner, and possibly what makes him a winner. Heaven is able to eavesdrop on what's happening in hell via this weird-ass orb thing, so maybe that ability extends to the human world and into the past. Also, this is a random detail, but I really hope Sir Pentious had long hair when he was alive. No reason for that preference, other than I've gotten attached to it, and Pentious is precious. More relevantly, he's a dramatic villain wannabe, with a large helping of silliness. This personality gives way to so many potential backstories, ripe with comedy and emotion alike. I can only assume they'll go all in on the drama for this one. Also, since One Egg Boy survived the battle, please keep him in the background doing dumb shit like Kiki or the Goat Boys. Both Pentious and I need this. 4. Lucifer being Lucifer. The Apple Tower in the newly made version of the hotel implies that Lucifer is going to be part of the main cast starting in Season 2. He might sit out some episodes, depression is a bitch that way, and he is kind of overpowered, but there will still be more of him than we saw in the first season. This guy makes every scene he's in so much more fun, and I'm curious how that will continue in scenes where he is present, but not necessarily the focus. As we saw in Season 1, even brief shots and background details add something really unique to the characters. I think we could all use a little of Lucy's "take that depression" energy in our lives, but we're also probably going to revisit a more emotional side to the character as Lilith enters the story. It'll be a real treat to see, but I also hope they just let him be adorable and silly and don't lose that in favor of angst or sad duck man. Also, just because I don't think I'm going to get another chance to mention this, I really hope we get a moment of Lucifer learning about Valentino licking Charlie's arm and being fucking furious. 3. Emily and Sir Pentious' friendship. I want to see the two cutest, most sunshiny characters in the show bond over heaven's corruption and how much they love the Princess of Hell. If Emily's delighted reaction at the end of episode 8 is anything to go off of, she and Pentious will at least get along. Once again, mandatory points for adorableness because it's Emily, and the joy in her face at Pentious' redemption is just contagious. On a more serious note, they'll probably team up to help Charlie in the hotel from heaven, maybe getting little glances at what's going on down in hell, once again via the weird-ass orb. And once Emily actually goes to hell, presumably to visit, I don't think she's a fallen angel yet, she'll get to alleviate at least some of the stress that poor Charlie is going through by informing her that not only is redemption possible after all, but her friend isn't actually dead. Hopefully that makes Vox's threats, her dad kind of losing his shit, her mom maybe betraying her, and Alastorness a little easier to handle. I'd say Sir Pentious' redemption is pretty unexpected, but it was somehow followed up by an even more intriguing cliffhanger. 2. More information on Lilith. Lilith's end of season appearance takes its place on this list not despite a lack of information, but because of a lack of information. It's an absorbing mystery for sure, and it's important not to get too excited to really find out what makes her tick, since her story will be a slow burn. Up to this point, I've been assuming that Lilith will actually show up this season, based on the show's creator promising that season 2 will give us more clues to what's going on with her. But so far, I've seen no trace of her in the trailers. I've seen no indication of who's playing her, even though VivziePop has made it clear before that her dream casting is Lady Gaga. And yeah, that one's wishful thinking, but you can't just not tell us who's going to be playing the character whose whole ordeal is being a singer, especially in a cast of Broadway actors. Especially when they're singing what sounds like a song she might write in the trailer. Am I home? So what if we've been looking at this wrong? What if she actually meant that we would be learning more about Lilith through the perceptions and lines of other characters? Whether it be Hell and those who only know her distantly like Vox, or her family, or the Heaven cast like Abel or Lute or Adam in Lute's head, only hearing about her as opposed to seeing her might feel disappointing, but it's a much better way to gouge her character than just giving her a few scenes, and it might be the only way to keep the mystery going. Or maybe the writers are just trying to hold on to every piece of this puzzle for as long as humanly possible for the sake of suspense. If so, it's working. I am sure we're going to get just as angry with Lilith as heartbroken for her while shit happens. But above all, it'll be so suspenseful to watch her motivations seemingly oscillate between good and evil throughout the seasons, though she is probably more complex in the end. 1. Alastor's backstory and story arc. There's a reason why Alastor is a fan favorite. Much like Lucifer, his eccentric personality is more than enough to grant him a place on this list. But better yet is that we're going to see his backstory this season. Regardless of where he falls on the hero to villain spectrum by the end of season 2, or even by the end of the show, a glimpse into his past, how he feels about it, and why he is the way he is, will be so intriguing. To learn not just how he got his unique moral code and what it is, but how he grew obsessed with control and what vulnerability in life has meant for him, only to recontextualize that into his past and future actions in hell. For better or for worse, we'll see him grow and change and become vulnerable in a way that he hasn't before. Probably against his own volition. The V's will become more of a threat, and Lilith will re-enter the scene. Whether she owns his soul or not, someone connected to his mysterious disappearance that he's been avoiding questions about is probably not welcome in his life right now. He doesn't need that, the man is trying hard enough not to have a breakdown. Things are gonna hit the fan for him, but as long as he survives, which he almost certainly will, he'll be someone the audience can't get enough of. Alastor caring about Niffty, Charlie, and the rest of the crew is something I will always take more of. And so is watching him do horrifyingly messed up shit. No need to flatten him. That moral grayness makes him who he is. And who he is extremely entertaining. Well, I'm starved. Who wants some jambalaya? I'm sorry. I had to. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you here again soon. Let me know down below what you're most looking forward to in Season 2, and which character you think will have the most outrageous lines. Have a lovely day. Never be ashamed of your interests. Stay here, stay queer, stay fun. Bye for now. That was a good outro, actually. I'm going to use that.